Greetings, everyone. Just another few moments while we wait for more people to come into the room. I'd like to thank you all for joining us this evening. Go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the screen. Like, share, and subscribe. And wherever you are logging in at, tuning in from, glad to have you. So just bear with us. Just for a few more moments. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Transformative Conversations. Glad to have you with us this evening. Turn this down just a little bit here. Thanks for joining us. I am your host, Sameon Crumby, transformation leader. Grateful to be with you this evening in this space where we're just going to have a conversation. That's what we do on these nights. We just have a conversation. Let's see who's in the room, checked in already. Go ahead and like, share the stream wherever you're tapping in from. Welcome, Carol. Welcome, Carol. Who else we have tapping in here tonight? Hey, Cassandra, Miss Cook. Good evening to you. It is indeed a great day for transformation. From Winder, Georgia. All right, Winder. Hey, Nancy. Good evening. It's a great day for transformation. Thanks for tuning in, tapping in. Get your questions ready. This is the time when you get to ask me questions. There's some things that are going on in our life that we're struggling with, and we want some greater insight on how we can transition and transform through it. These are the moments where we get to get that clarity, get some insight, get some direction. Good evening, Sharon. Good evening. So get your questions, whether you want to come in the chat. I'm also going to put in the stream. You don't have to show your face, but you are welcome to come in. Let's have a conversation. I was talking to someone earlier. I said, this is an opportunity. What I mean by opportunity, for many who know me, for many years I've been a coach. And for life, relationships, business. And I've helped thousands of people all across the world to be able to realize more of their best life. To be able to find the peace that has been eluding them, to create the relationships that allow them to shine, that best support them. And I'm here to do that with you. So what I decided to do when I created the stream was I wanted to make myself available to more people. People, one, who weren't aware of who I am, and two, who may not be able to make the investment at this time. That they can get a little bit of information, a little bit of insight, just a little bit will take you far. So I have a couple pieces of information, some stories I want to share with you this evening that may be able to help you. I have a few people who said they want to tune in and ask a couple of questions or share some experiences and get some insight on them. So we're going to make way for you to do so today. So come on in, make yourself comfortable, get your favorite beverage. And while you do that, know that you can also go to the YouTube page. My page is Sameon Crumby Jr. or One Transformation Center. Go ahead and share that and like that and subscribe to that. Hit the notification bell so you can know when these streams occur each and every Wednesday. So, create the opportunity for you to come in and share. But we also want to know, we have our Ask Sameon segment where you can feel free to come into the stream and let's discuss some pressing issues affecting your life every day. I'm not going to beg you. I have plenty of information. I can talk for the whole entire time. But, somebody may have a question. Somebody may not have the courage to be able to speak up for themselves, but yet you may have an experience that they can grow from, that they can evolve from, that will give them the permission to be able to show up and exercise from a space of strengths. Okay, I see Nancy. She wants to talk about relationships. What exactly about relationships would you like to have a conversation about, Nancy? Let's talk about that. But I will share one story. Let me share one story. Let me know if that underbed music is too loud for you. I want to make sure that you can hear me. It is not battling there's no battle. Right? Put a 1 in the chat if it's too loud. Put a 1 in the chat if it's too loud. Turn that off my notifications too. All right, you want to talk about couples. Well, usually when you're in a relationship, it is a coupling. So is there anything specific that you want to discuss? How to have a valuable relationship? Is it something that you may be experiencing that you'd like to get some insight on? But I will start it out with this. With relationships, it is essential to understand that the person that you're meeting, the person that you are experiencing, that you're walking on this journey with, that it's not so much about them, that they're showing up to be a reflection of you, to give you the opportunity to get a greater understanding of who you are. So it's very easy for us to try to point out the blemishes in another. Easy for us to try to control or manipulate a situation or person or experience in order to get what we want out of it. But I'm here to share with you. This is from all my life experience, as well as the couples and singles that I've worked with throughout the years. I can honestly say that when you make that approach, it is temporary. You will get the temporary happiness, temporary satisfaction, the temporary fulfilling space that you desire. Temporary. But if I'm understanding correctly, you really desire a relationship that is longer than temporary. Something that is consistent, long-term, and permanent. Now, I will state, and many of us know this, that all relationships are not permanent. Sometimes they're for a season, others for a reason, then you have those that are for a lifetime. But I know many of us are looking for this quote-unquote power couple or life couple, or looking for their perfect partner. Well, it takes a process of understanding in order for you to be able to align with that. What do I mean by that? You say, Sameon, what do you mean by that? You're going to have some representation, because many of you have lists. And you're going to have some representation of the list that you've created. And the reason why you're going to have some representation of those lists is because you have to get an understanding if those items, those itemized pieces on your list are really important to you. Are they really important to you? And you're going to have something that we may experience called contrast. Now you say, what do you mean contrast? I mean, the thing that doesn't feel good to you, that feels opposite of what your desire is. And the reason you're having that contrast is for you to get an understanding, or for you to begin to quantify your experience. Give you a case in point. Ladies, it is important for you that after the man uses the restroom that he lowers the seat, right? And so if you have a man who consistently does not lower the seat, it's going to agitate you and frustrate you, correct? And you're going to make several attempts to be able to ask him to correct that. And you may even move beyond that and say, you know what, I'm just going to make sure that the seat is lowered. But even though you taking a proactive perspective, does it mean that you no longer care about those things? No, it doesn't. It just simply means that you have conceded to the fact that it's not going to happen. But if it's still bothering you, then you're going to have to make a decision. And I know this is something minute. But you have to make a decision if it's worth you settling, if it's worth your peace of mind, to continue in that space, knowing that you are conceding. And it doesn't feel good. You did your work. You've said, let me go inside of me, let me fix me, let me make sure that I make the adjustments. Because maybe it's just me. Maybe it's trivial. but that actually leaving up the seat could mean more than just leaving up the seat. It could simply mean that your partner is not as thoughtful as you like them to be, that your partner is not considerate, that your partner is self-focused. And so because of that, contrast says, I desire someone who is more focused on the big picture, not the small picture. Someone who is more open and understanding, someone who is thoughtful, someone who is going to take me in consideration, my needs, no matter how minute they may be. So then it shifts you to be able to move from that space, and you begin to be more focused and more intentional of what your desires are. That's how contrast can show up for you. All right, so Nancy got a little bit more specific. Let's see what the question is. It says, when do you know when it's time to move on? When do you know enough is enough? This is a great question, and I'm sure many of you have asked yourself the same question. Some of us have gotten to a space where we don't even care. We just move on and say, whatever, I'm out. Let me tell you what I choose to do in those moments. And I'm going to tell you why I make this choice. It says, how do you know when it's time to move on? First of all, the contrast is real. If it continues to bother you, if you don't feel safe, if you don't feel peace, if you don't feel supported, but more importantly, here's the catch, here's the key. When you've done the work that you need to do to ensure that you have made all the changes that you need to make, the corrections that you find in your partner, you begin to take them inside of yourself. You say, you know what, my partner is an extension and reflection of me. So the things that I do not like, let me go inside of me and figure them out, fix them and see if they need to be fixed. And once you've done all those things, still exist, it's time to move on. Secondly, think about it from this perspective. If you're considering the opportunity to shift from that experience to a new experience, don't you want to heal? That is when you should begin the time to heal, so that you can release those things without carrying forth any baggage. Now, how many people have moved into a relationship with baggage, or been in a relationship with someone with some significant baggage? Didn't feel good, did it? Feel like very weighted, heavy environment atmosphere. Like you moving, you're taking on and you're assuming somebody else's stuff, even though you have enough stuff that you don't even want to carry with you as it is, but now you're assuming their stuff. That's because the work wasn't done prior to their departure. And the work wasn't done before you made the coupling. So when do you know enough is enough, she says? It's when you're fed up. It's when all you done, as the old song said, when you've done all you can, you stand. See, some of us stay in relationships for far too long, too. We miss out on opportunities that are available to us because we try to continuously give other people second chances, third chances, fourth chances. I'm here to tell you, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. And by doing so, this is when you begin to express unconditional love. Now you say, well, no, I'm loving them unconditionally by staying. Well, do you have conditions attached to your remaining? Do you? No, I'm just, I know that's who he is, but I know that's who she is, so, but that's a condition. You know who they are. It's a condition. But when you can get in there and say, you know what, I love you unconditionally, that I'm willing to allow, accept, and embrace you to be who you are, and that's it. Nothing more, nothing less. And then you ask yourself, is that something in this space, does it align with who you are? Does it allow you and give you the room to be your authentic self, to be the best and highest version of yourself? If it doesn't, it's time to go. I'm going to tell you something that no one else may have told you, and maybe you've heard it, and this is just a reminder. Many times by staying in an environment, you could be potentially keeping someone, holding someone hostage. By holding them into that environment, by keeping them in that environment, and now you can do all the changing you want to do. You can show up in all the myriad of ways that you want to show up to appeal to them, to appease them. But the question you have to ask yourself is, are you living authentically? Are you being the best version of yourself? Are you being true? Can you look yourself in the mirror and see you and love you and embrace you and smile at what you see? Then and only then are you living authentically. Then and only then are you being your best self. You're being your true self. Because here's the key in relationships that most people don't tell you. They don't tell you that it's essential for you to be 100% of you. You don't want a 50-50. You don't want an 80-20, 70-30, 90-10. You don't want that. The best relationships are when you Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Oops, give me a second. Can you hear me now? There we go. Yeah. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me now. Okay. I don't know what's going on. My computer did something interesting. Let's see if the settings are right here. It changed my settings somehow. Okay. All right, let me know if there's any feedback. Any feedback? Because for some reason my music is coming out of my speakers instead of my headphones, so that can create some feedback. As I was saying, one thing that they don't teach us and they don't share with us about relationships is that it's important that we show up 100%, our partner show up 100%, so that we can have enhanced experiences. One of the reasons why we have enhanced experiences, is because in the event that someone departs, nothing's being taken away from you. That you're just being added to. Now tell me, anybody desire to be added to? Or do we desire to operate in the space of a cup half full? I personally like to operate in the space of a cup overflowing. That's how I like to show up, a cup that is overflowing. So, When you come to the table 100%, they come to the table 100%. Now you are 100%. 50-50 is still 50. 80-20 is still lacking. 90-10 is still lacking. You're still compromising. You're giving up something. So I want to tell you this. When you give up something, now you're moving into a space of compromise. But here's the key. You only want to negotiate in relationships of any type. The reason I say that is because the very person, your partner, may not need or desire as much as you think they do. And you're giving them the opportunity to tell you, to declare to you what it is that they need and or desire. If you want any clarification or on that, please feel free to give it to me. Let me know. We go further. Next question. Relationships. Let's do something right quick. I'm getting some feedback. Let's see what's happening here. All right, so let's go back. Relationships. Do you tell a person that you've been dealing with for a long time that they aren't satisfying you anymore, meaning not on the same page? The best thing you could do is to be honest. That's the best thing you could do for yourself and for that person, because that gives them the opportunity to make adjustments and to also declare or determine how invested they are. Because sometimes we become comfortable. Have you ever been in a situation you become comfortable and you just stop investing in it? You stop making a contribution? That's what happens when you become comfortable in an experience. When you think that what you're doing is enough, that's what happens. So take a moment, pull this person to the side, and they will greatly appreciate it when you do. Even though it may not be received as openly, but from a space of love, share with them your concerns. Share with them that you're not getting out of this experience what you once did or what you desire. But you have to be willing to be open with them and share with them without pointing the finger and telling them what they're not doing, what it is that you desire to experience. So this is about you. What we fail to understand is that life is here. Everything that happens, everything that is operating, is created, that surrounds us, is here to support us. It's here to support us. So the question is, are you going to allow life to support you, or are you just going to sit back and do nothing? That's the choice. It's your choice. Yet, you can change the dynamic. Honesty really is the best policy. I heard something the other day, somebody said, truth hurts. And I said, why? Why does truth have to hurt? Why does truth have to hurt? Does it hurt because of your delivery? Does it hurt because of your intentionality? Does it hurt because of ego? Meaning edging God out? Does it hurt because feelings are involved and bruised? Well, I'm going to say something. It's going to sound callous, but it's real. Your feelings are not my responsibility. They're your feelings. Because many times our feelings aren't always factually based. They're based upon an illusion that we've created, an idea that we think is right. So the question you have to ask yourself is, are we operating in facts or feelings? Even when you're thinking about leaving a relationship, are we operating in facts or feelings? Have you logically thought it out? Is it really to your benefit to move on, to change directions, to make adjustments, or just feeling some kind of way right now? Now, what's the difference between facts and feelings for those who do not understand, who may conflate these? Facts are the things that are unchanged, they're constant. Feelings are temporary. They change by they're experiential, they change with each experience. Because I guarantee you, if you go out there and somebody spoils you, does something really nice for you and thoughtful that you were not expecting, your feelings will change. You begin to second guess the way you felt previously. So you have to ask yourself, am I operating out of facts or feelings? Cassandra, did I answer your question? If not, I will continue. So you're dealing with someone for a long time, they aren't satisfying you anymore. How are they not satisfying you is the question. You said meaning that you're not on the same page. That happens. It's called growth. Growth. But again, did you sit this individual down and ask them the questions? Did you verbalize to them where you are to give them the opportunity to meet you there? Because sometimes we see things differently than our partners. We think we're there because it hasn't been verbalized to us. And that is a great, great, great insult to our partners to think that they're supposed to know how we thinking, our thinking and our feelings. Think that when the contract that we've agreed to initially has changed, that they knew that the change happened and they know the details of the new agreement. That's unfair. You have to ask yourself, is that how you want to be treated? Is that how you want to be treated? Let's see here. Nancy came back in with another question. And feel free. And if you want to come into the stream and have a conversation, we can do that as well. But Nancy came back with another question. Says, I just realized that it's okay to seek professional help. I realized that I need to find the best version of myself to either help me to stay or to help me to realize that this is not what I need or deserve. Great, great analyzation. Kudos to you, Nancy. I'm proud of you. Because self-reflection is the first step to freedom. Self-reflection is the first step to you realizing your best life now, not tomorrow, not next year, but right now. And I'm here to tell you, professional help is okay. I'm a professional that helps people. I've had professional help before. We all need to have someone that we can talk to that may not be attached to a situation, who can provide us with insight or just let us vent. Because once you get through your venting process, you may realize things aren't what you think they are. Or somebody can give you a perspective that is different than what you know and that your family knows because they're in the mess. I'll give you an example. I was speaking to someone yesterday, and they've had a time of it, to the fact that it's greatly affected their health. Now, this individual was in relatively good health. And from all occurrences, from the outside perspective, was very successful and could appear to be very happy. But yet they were in a relationship that they settled for. Not my words, but their words. They were having an experience that wasn't totally fulfilling, to the point that something medically happened, tragically medically happened, that shook up the world and caused them to sit down, have to be still, and see things for what they are. Because many times we can ignore the signs that are written on the walls. And upon leaving and moving to a space of recovery from this medical situation, they found out that their partner was having another relationship or other experiences, relational experiences outside of them. It was disconcerting, to say the least, especially in a time that felt difficult, that a time of recovery physically. And they really needed and desired that support of that partner to help them to move through. There's stuff. Well, I asked the individual, what is it that you were seeking in that relationship? And then what were you experiencing in that relationship? Then I went on to ask the individual, if you never found out, or if that quote unquote infidelity never occurred, knowing all that you've gone through and where you are currently, would you find that relationship as a valuable experience, as something that you would want to continue? And the response was no. And then I asked the question, why? Why not? Why not? And they began to tell me, why not? They began to tell me how their partner was not someone that they would initially be interested in. They began to tell me their partner was not someone they found attractive, that it was someone who had to jump through many hoops in order for them to be in a relationship. And that they were ready for the reason they chose them was because they were available and they were ready to have it, to settle down, to have that relational experience, the next level relational experience. They were ready to 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 move to a space, move towards marriage. And so, after discussing a little further, and I'm not going to give you the details, that's not what I do. I'm just telling you this because potentially you may be in this space. This may be helping someone who's out there. So, after we discussed it further, I asked a very serious question. Are you ready for the question? Because you might need to be asked this question to yourself. Who is it that you chose this person to replace? What was the experience that you really wanted that was no longer available to you? So you selected this one instead. I'll wait. And said individual grew very quiet and simply stated what it was. And then I responded to said individual. Please hear this when I say this, because some of you are in the same position as the partner, or you're in the same situation as the individual. Whenever you are in an experience where someone has to jump through hoops in order to be with you, how you start is how they continue. And they're going to find themselves continuously trying to jump through hoops in order to make sure you're good, to appease you, to appeal to you. And I'm here to tell you that grows very tiring. That creates an experience that creates the feeling of not being good enough, of not being deserving, which ultimately means that they were never in alignment with you. And so when the opportunity comes along and someone makes them feel like they are enough right where they are, it's going to become very tempting to them because they're already tired. They can't tell you that because of fear of loss, because they're not living authentically, and nor are you. You weren't living authentically because you chose an experience to replace another. I know that space. I think we've all been there. We've all felt like we missed out on something, or we settled for something because the thing that we really desired didn't show up. Maybe it's a job, maybe it's a house, a car, whatever it may be. We felt that experience of settling. And I'm here to tell you that it can't sustain itself. Settling cannot sustain itself. Yet, you can make a different decision. And by keeping someone in a relationship with you, you're holding them hostage. You're it's like the equivalent of keeping them enslaved. They don't have any freedom. They don't have the freedom to be the version of themselves or the best version of themselves, even though they may be in better off shape now than they were when you met them. They really don't have the freedom to be themselves. Any given moment, they'll throw it all away just so they can have the peace of mind of being themselves, of knowing that they are enough. Anybody listening to the sound of my voice in a relationship with someone who is constantly trying to prove themselves to you? Or press one, or press two if you're listening and you're in a relationship with someone and you're constantly trying to prove yourself to them. Press two. I've been in both situations. And I'm here to tell you that neither of them are fun. Neither of them are fulfilling. So if you find yourself in that space, it's time to make an adjustment. Nancy, you asked the question of when do you know it's time to go? When you stop being authentic. That's simple. When you stop being true and real with yourself, when you find the need to try to complete someone, when you find the need to try to appease someone, when you are no longer enough in that space, or when your partner is no longer enough in that space. Oh, I think that was Cassandra that asked that question. When your partner is no longer enough, set them free. Let them align with the space that they do find themselves enough, that is perfect for them, that is doesn't take any extra effort or energy for them to be the best version of themselves, that they're inspired to be the best version of themselves, not required. Let me say that again. It is important for you to be in experiences where you are inspired to be the best version of yourself, not required. Another question. So, what if you're giving them a chance to do better, or you've shared your concerns and they don't hear it or want to discuss it? Should you keep trying to discuss it or move on to better you? Ms. Cook, I think we just addressed that, but I'll go back to it. I'll restate it. Are you requiring him to be something, or is he inspired to be a thing? Because if he's not inspired and he's being required, let him go. This is what you're telling right here. You said, so if you're giving them a chance to do better, or you shared your concerns and they don't hear it or want to discuss it, then why is that really in your best interest to continue to stay in that space? I'm not telling you what to do. I did say let them go, but that's your prerogative if you want to stay or not. What you invest your time and energy into is your investment. I just hope that you're able to get the return on investment that you desire. So the question is, do you want to move your investment, or do you want to continue to invest? Are you getting the rate of return on your investment, or do you desire to shift and allow yourself to to invest in something differently to get a different outcome? It all depends on how much your energy is important to you as well. I mean, if you have a lot of energy, you can just invest it frivolously. Well, why not continue to invest it frivolously then? It's not taken away from you. I'm just saying. No, no need to apologize. You're good. I figured as much. That's a long question, so I'm sure as I'm speaking, You're probably typing it at the same time. But yeah, it's a good question. There's no such thing as stupid questions or wrong questions because somebody needs it. Somebody needed a reminder by you addressing it in that way. They needed that reminder. So no need to feel any kind of way. You're good with me. You're good with me. I'm gonna put the stream back in here again. Does anybody else have a question? Or if not, I have another example for another client that I was sharing with today. Let me see here. This has fixed itself. It has not fixed itself. I don't know what's going on. So, another example. I was speaking with another client today. And this client is a truck driver. They drive trucks professionally. And every time we're on the phone, they're getting upset. They're getting upset with other truckers. Say they're driving too fast. Like they're just tired of these new drivers out here driving too fast, so on and so forth. When I get it, that's it. But I'm a believer that anytime you see something on a consistent basis over and over again, that it isn't really about the other person. It's really about a message that you need to receive. And so I listened to him vent and rant. Then I asked him a simple question. I asked him, what if it was possible for that experience to be a reflection of you and your life decisions? What if you're consistently seeing this? You're consistently seeing this as an opportunity for you to make some adjustments for yourself. And the response to me was, well, I don't drive fast, so that has nothing to do with me. I said, oh yeah, you're right. You don't. You're a very good driver. Matter of fact, you drive too slow. I know because, trust me, I know. I said, but we're not talking about your driving. We're talking about your life decisions and how you live your life. And he paused and he thought about it. He said, yeah, you're right. I'm quick to jump the gun. I'm quick to make decisions without flushing them out, without having all the information. And then seeing the kickback, the negative feedback, or it doesn't go the way that I feel like it should be going. So if we just take more time to look at life, because remember, life is here to support us. We create the idea that sometimes it's here to hurt us or it's difficult, so on and so forth. It's all about our perception. When you change your perception, and that was a key idea, that when you change the way you see a thing, the thing that you see changes as well. When he stopped looking at the drivers driving too fast to begin to look at his own life and the way he's made his decisions, then he can begin to make the changes to enhance his life, to move in a more positive manner. So I asked you, what is it that you are seeing on a consistent basis? What is it that you are experiencing on a consistent basis? What keeps coming up over and over again, whether it's in your relationship, whether it's in your career, whether it's in your social life, whether it's with your children, whatever the case may be, what keeps coming up over and over again for you? And that you keep projecting, you keep saying, thinking it has nothing to do with you, when the reality is it's for you. It's a message for you. Many times I have many clients who come to me talking about their roadblocks and their stumbling, and their stumbling blocks, and their obstacles, their circumstances, and their situations. without realizing the answers that they're seeking are right there in front of their face the whole entire time. They just aren't willing to do the work. They aren't willing to look inside. They aren't willing to read the writing on the wall. I was talking to another young lady today, and I looked out my back window. In my backyard, there's chipmunks and squirrels and robins and blue jays and cardinals um, and today I saw a rat. And I could have very easily panicked, like, oh no, it's a rat. I gotta get him out of here. I can't have him in the house. And I used to do stuff like that until I became a little bit more introspective. And in my introspectancy, I began to understand that these creatures were messengers. And if I continued to see them, I realized that there were some messages that were happening for me. And so, yeah, I could see them from the dark perspective that we've created, that ego has announced to us, that, that society's demonstrated that they're nasty creatures, so on and so forth. Or I can simply do some research on totem animals or spirit totem animals and see what it is and how it is that they support. What message are they creating? So I didn't do it earlier, but I'm going to do it now. Let's look up spirit totem or spirit animal. Rat. This is the year of the rat for the Chinese too, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see what it means. It says the rat as a spirit animal signifies restlessness and success. Restlessness and success. As a totem or spirit animal, it might be a sign of being unsettled. It is a reminder of the need to be shrewd in business affairs. The rat also demonstrates how to be resilient and survive despite extreme difficulties. Full transparency, that is very appropriate for me. Where I am in this time of my life, that is a very appropriate message. But I could have missed it if I only saw it as a rodent. There's something that I really don't like, is snakes. But I kept on seeing snakes. In my dreams, I saw snakes. In my, I could be out walking, getting exercise, I would see snakes. Whether it was dead or alive, I would see a snake. I'm like, oh, what is up with these snakes? But then I started doing my research and asking, what does the snake represent? And by doing so, I began to get insight which supported me on my journey. And what I realized is that the snake represented transformation and regeneration. And it was an indication that transformation is happening within you, around you. It was that little subtle hint, that subtle message that I needed. Because sometimes, let me tell you what we do as human beings. We think we're so smart. We're so smart that we're stupid sometimes. We have one mouth and two ears. Which one do we use twice as much? I'll say it again. We have one mouth and two ears. Which one do we use twice as much? I'll wait. Anybody care to put it in the chat? Which one do we use twice as much? Our mouth or our ears? I wish I had that theme music. Dun, 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. We use our mouth twice as much as our ears. Even though we have two ears, meaning we're not really good listeners. And when we listen, we don't practice active listening. So the messages we can be downloading the messages, but yet we're not available to them because we're talking so much instead of listening more. So I do realize I also have two eyes. So I use my two eyes to catch the messages that my two ears may miss out on. I encourage you to do the same. I encourage you to do the same. So, any other questions? If there's any concerns, we're coming up to the top of the hour. Are there any concerns? Like, there's anything that besides relationships that you're experiencing right now? Any career stuff? Any you're looking to transition beyond where you are? There's one thing I was waiting for a young lady to come on. She wanted to have a conversation about some things, but I'll talk about it. Let's talk about it. I don't. She started a conversation, but she'll listen to the stream later and get it. We were talking about working out and getting our bodies in shape. Has anybody been a proficient workout warrior, but yet you really didn't see your body change? You didn't lose the weight you felt like you should be losing based upon your performance? Is there anybody in the room, except myself, with the exception of myself, who knows that experience? Anyone? The reason I asked that question is because of this. Many times the weight that we carry has nothing to do with what we eat, our diets, or how much we work out. Many times the weight that we're carrying is simply baggage. Baggage that we're refusing to let go of. Baggage that we continue to carry with us. Baggage that will contribute to ailments and illnesses, dis-ease. We're carrying stuff from our childhood trauma all the way to our adult dissatisfaction. And we're wondering why we can't eradicate ourselves of this extra weight. It's because it isn't outside of you, it's inside of you. So take the time to release the things that no longer serve you. Stop allowing your circumstances and your situations to be your identity. And begin to set yourself up for a journey that is effortless, that is fun, that is jovial, that is not painful or grief-stricken. Metaphysically, it talks about what I'm describing to you is a metaphysical theory, okay? A metaphysical principle. And if we can look at our illnesses and diseases, we can realize that many of those things are occurring not because of some DNA stuff, even though there's some deposits in our DNA from ancestral times that we've carried along with us through generations that have contributed to our beingness. So, but we can go and change our DNA by eradicating these things that no longer serve us, mentalities, philosophies, ideologies that no longer serve us. We can change things. We have that power. Like, you are that powerful. You know that, right? You are that powerful. And so, with that being the case, it just takes time to go inside. Now, if you don't know how to do that, that's when you get with a professional who can help you unpack. Unpack. Because many of us are unpacking. Rightfully so. Let me take my glasses off for this. Many of us are unpacking. Yet, we're hoarding. We aren't discarding. We're unpacking, but we aren't discarding. We're hoarding. We're still holding on to it because it has a semblance of meaning to us. There's still something that feels good about it, something that tastes or smells good about it. So we don't let it go so that we can be fully available for the opportunities that exist now to get the fullness of it without realizing it is diluting our current experiences. I have a couple that I'm going to do a session with this weekend, and they're having a tough time with it because of past stuff that's being carried. And that trauma, that energy that is being carried is being projected upon the other one. And it's heavy and it's hurtful. And it begins to taint the way that they see them. It begins to create a false reality of how they see them. They begin to create all these illusions and no longer can see the value in them now. It begins to reduce your value. So you have to ask yourself the question, because sometimes we just project that on other people like, well, you just don't understand. You don't see me who I am, and I am who I am. Yeah, but you're also full of trash. No disrespect. You're full of garbage, and you're holding on to garbage, and it smells, and you're asking us to accept you with all that aroma that is unappealing. You're asking us to accept you with all of that garbage that is piling up around your waist, in your legs, on your back, your ankles. You're getting sick, and you're asking us to accept you in your sickness because you want to hold on to some stuff that is hurting you. So now in turn, that is hurting them who you're asking to accept you as. And then when they leave because they can no longer take it, because it's adversely affecting them and they desire to no longer be affected by it, now you vilify them. That's not right. Why force someone to carry your junk? We say, well, if you love me, you will. That's conditional love. You just place condition on how I love you. That I got to accept your junk, your garbage that has no value to it, in order to have a valuable relationship or in order to have a loving relationship with you. Now, I will tell you this. I did, in my previous marriage, one of the things that I learned in that space was she used to say, I love you. And I used to think, how in the world can you love me when you're doing all this mess? When you're showing up the way you're showing up. But I quickly began to understand by doing my work, by being introspective, by being still and listening and understanding and becoming understanding, I began to understand, yes, she loves me. Absolutely, she loves me. Yet, she loves me with conditions. And then I had to begin to say, I do not desire to be loved with conditions. I don't love you with conditions. I love you unconditionally, and I desire and deserve the same in return. The question is, will you love yourself enough to be able to make that proclamation, that declaration? Or will you continue to stand in the space of acceptance, even though it's not, doesn't feel good, doesn't smell good, doesn't even look good to you, but yet you compromise because for whatever reason, whether you don't want to be alone, you're getting older now, you don't think there's a valuable partner out there anymore, you've gone through your life experience and you've amassed so many circumstances and situations that could be unappealing to another. You know, I'm a product of 10 children. My mother had 10 children. I'm her eldest. And I watched my mother, no offense to any other parties. I watched my mother compromise herself in order to be loved, to be accepted. And she left this world still feeling unaccepted and unloved. Even though she was loved, but she desired to be loved unconditionally in the same way that she gave it. But yet it wasn't possible. Why? Because she compromised. So many of you are out there with children, and there's a narrative going around that you're unattractive because you have children. But I'm here to tell you, if you're patient enough, you do your internal work, someone will accept it. Someone will accept you for who you are, where you are. Someone will find value in you. But you first have to see yourself as valuable. Did you get that? Someone will find value in you, yet you first have to see yourself as valuable. I don't want to give you too much. I'll let you sleep on that. Take time to do so. Well, I thank you all for being here this evening, taking the time to be able to grow, to move in a space that of acceptance, of understanding, allowing yourself to be greater than you ever have been in this moment. Take care of yourself. Really, take care of yourself. That would give you the opportunity to realize who you really are and to increase your value. So next time, I hope you continue to join us and share this stream. If you missed any part of it, it's recorded. Feel free to go back. It's on YouTube, either at my YouTube page, my personal YouTube page, which the name is changing, it's Sameon Crumby Jr., or it's on One Transformation Center's YouTube page. If you haven't subscribed to all the social media access points, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, please do so. And also, we look forward to having you join us in the mornings for the morning manifestation sessions. The morning manifestation sessions have been a blessing to me, and for those who have been a part of them, great feedback. So they're Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. and Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. Come set yourself up to really increase your value, to know more about yourself and reconnect with your purpose. Especially if you're asking the question, what is my purpose? You're saying, I feel out of alignment. I'm tired. Come be a part of these sessions, and I guarantee you, you'll reconnect with your purpose, the reason why you are here, and get the energy and rejuvenation to be the best version of yourself and go out and feel and begin to live instead of existing again. It's important. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't ever desire to exist again. I love living. I love living, not living. I love living. And then we'll be back on Sunday. Sunday, we'll be back with another Transform Your Life series. Transform Your Life series. Week 3 of the 13-week Magnanimous Manifestation series. Come check us out. Tune in 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. It will bless you. Trust me. Bring somebody with you. So until next time, continue to be great. Continue to love yourself and be the change you desire to see. Blessings.